What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share the video, and make sure you leave a comment. And again, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know every time we drop a video. Got a guest on today. I'm going to let this brother introduce himself. Tell the people who you are, brother, where you're from, and talk a little bit about how you ended up in prison and what you're doing now.
Hey, how's it going? My name is George. I currently reside in Anchorage, Alaska. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I caught my federal case in West Virginia, which is how I got to Alaska. So it kind of all ties in together.
I want to ask you a question, right? How much time were you
Okay.
sentenced to?
9 years and 2 months, 110 months. And believe it or not, the feds, they gave me months. I didn't even, when they gave me that, I had to pull a calculator out and try to figure out, because I had been to state prison and juvenile prison. I grew up in jail, so, but never like the United States of America against me. Like all of that was mind blowing. It really was.
What was your first prison?
My first prison, you mean as an adult or juvenile?
As an adult, when you ended up in federal prison, what was your first federal prison?
My first federal prison was USP Hazelton.
USP Hazelton. Dangerous place back.
Yeah. Oh man, very dangerous, man. Very, very, very dangerous.
What did you think when they told you were going to a USP? Were you nervous?
Well, I had only was hearing stories from the people around me, and I was definitely a little bit nervous, man. But it wasn't nothing like that feeling when your feet first walk through that yard, and you start to feel that energy and those forces. You know what I mean? Like it's a crazy feeling.
What'd you go to prison for?
Drugs. My federal charges was aiding and abetting, possession with intent, racketeering, interstate trafficking, and maintaining a residence for the distribution of a controlled two substance, or however way they worded it. I can't quote it like I used to as fast as I could.
It's all right to forget that type of stuff. You hear me?
So yeah, 10 years now, free, no problems.
That's what's up. Never violated parole, nothing.
None of that. Got off early. Outstanding person. I told them that they wasting their time with me because I really was headed into a different direction. I was tired of, like I said, I even fought the police in juvenile prison. So I had a situation that happened in 1999 with that was kind of life changing too, you know. So just surviving.
You said you had a situation in juvenile. Tell me about it.
Yeah, this officer, like they were choking them youngsters out and beating them up and everything. And I was laughing and joking and ha 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 and kiki and seeing it happen because I never thought it would be me. And the guard walked up behind me one day and said, "I'm tired of you and I'm tired of talking to you." And he slapped me and bust my eardrum instantly. Blood splattered right on the wall. And I took my shirt off, you know what I mean? I went crazy, you know, like.
How old were you?
I was 17. Yep.
This was a
17
juvenile
years old.
facility?
Yeah, Cuyahoga Hills Boys School. The guy copped out to assault on me. My mother in the jail pressed charges on him. He ended up, copping out. Like a lot of stuff happened behind that, like behind that whole situation. And they was trying to put money on my head to have something done to me in there too. But that never happened either. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying.
The cops put money on
Yeah,
you?
yeah, they had actual money on the yard, man. Like it was jail, like it really was, and that was my first, introduction into jail and prison as a juvenile in Ohio. When you say Cuyahoga Hills Boys School, everybody know what's going on with that, and they got worser places than that, you know.
Well, Cleveland's a dangerous place.
Yeah, it is. Sure, you play your rear view and and you keep nothing but positive energy around you.
Yeah. So how long were you in Hazelton?
Um, I wasn't there very long. It may have been about maybe 6 to 8 months because my points had dropped. Like I didn't even understand. I was 22 going on 23, with the point system and all of that, how I ended up in the USP. Anyway, it was intriguing. The management variable and the different things that happened. They ended up sending me to my first FCI after there, though. But the time I was there, it was definitely people died. You know what I mean? Stabbings. Like my friends kind of had problems. I was cool with the guys from DC because my celly was from DC, and that was a smart decision that I had made to go ahead and allow that person to be my celly. Again, I had rolled in that jail when it opened up. So we were able to pick ourselves and our cellies. And he came to me and asked me if he could be my celly because he seen the kind of person I was. And I said, yeah, which was a good thing because now I was in favor with the DC card, and that was an awkward situation when it came to my guys and them, like politics, you know what I mean?
So on a politic level, it was probably a smart decision. I'm sure there was a bunch of
I didn't
DC guys there.
It was, but I didn't even do it for that reason because I was too young to even understand. Like my friends were mad at me. My homies were upset about that because that was supposed to be for Ohio. It wasn't, necessarily supposed to be a split situation. But I'm on man time, and that's what those guys was teaching me in there about not being on homie time and being on man time. So, I learned from some real good people.
Nothing wrong with being on man time, right?
Absolutely, because you're held accountable for what you do and say. Your honor is on the line, and honorable people tend to not, do dishonorable things.
Yeah, that's a jewel right there, man. I hope people grab that. They might have to rewind that and hear that again.
Yeah, it's probably gonna go over their head though. But if you're lucky enough to survive some of these traps that's out here, you will, figure it out. You know what I mean? If you're blessed enough.
I hear you. So you end up leaving Hazelton, right?
hmm
But before we get to where you went after Hazelton, what was one of the most craziest things you've seen in Hazelton?
I seen the natives. Would nobody sell the natives alcohol on the yard because they would drink and want to fight and go through a lot of crazy stuff. So they started making their own wine, and they were still like stabbing each other and fighting each other. They made their own stuff, like with nobody selling, man. So they made their own stuff, and that blew me away. You know what I mean? And they almost got me. They tricked me a couple times, but I was able to, maybe talk some sense into them or whatever though. But yeah,
See, a lot of people don't know that, and it's not nothing. It's not a knock on the natives or nothing, but I've been in prisons with them. USP Lee, USP Big Sandy. They get drunk and
absolutely,
they get busy. You know what I mean? Like they
absolutely, they
stab
get
their
active.
own. They have no
Yeah, they
problem.
don't at all. And the dude was mad at me over a microwave. So they was locking us down at like 9:30. And I had hurried up and got to the microwave. I'm downstairs and I see dude. So we kind of going for the microwave at the same time. And I kind of beat him to it. I never knew that he had something in his heart about that. Like a few days later, after he started drinking, he sent one of the chiefs to come get me to talk to me about all these tattoos because I'm tatted up, my eyelids everywhere, my arms. So like I went ahead and went down there. And as soon as I went in there, they closed the door and hopped in front of the door like they had me cornered because dude said, "You think you run microwave?" I'm like, "Chief, it's not my microwave, man. I don't run anything. You know what I mean? Like I'm not about to like go through this with you." Because he said he had 40 years. He said we could fight, we could stab. You know what I mean? He really felt some type of way about that microwave incident that I slept on. You know what I mean? And that wasn't the first time that a situation like that happened.
So we're going to talk about that then. Tell people how important it is, and we're going to get into what happened with you and the Serranios in a minute, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I want people to understand, people that are watching this show that end up in prison, if you're on the wrong path, something as small as a microwave or a television could be the cost of your life in prison, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The penalty is very severe in the USP. When we talk about the USP, it's a little bit different than the FCIs. I spent quite a bit of time in the FCIs and I started off in the USP and because that kind of taught me how to be able to move from that moment on and the seriousness of life and the quality of life while you're in there because man, the chances of you getting out are slim and the chances of you having to hurt somebody are, very high. So You know what I mean? It's like really crazy, you know.
You feel like your life was on the line all the time in there, every single day?
Every day, and it wasn't even me. Again, I'm a likable kind of guy, you know. I respect, man, and people, when I don't, you know, violate nobody or anything. It was other situations that would, you know what I mean. I'm from Ohio. I got to ride with Ohio. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's kind of one of them things.
So you end up making it out of the cell with no problem with the native dude?
I did. He let me go because he seen that I wasn't trying to be some badass. I don't know what he was thinking in his head. You know what I mean? Would have had him so furious, but no, whatever it wasn't that. His celly was the one that did my tattoos. Like I ain't have no problems with him. You know what I mean? And then another incident, a small Asian guy, I said, you know, hey, big man, and that escalated. You know what I mean? He had a body in another joint, had life. You know, he felt like I was, you know, disrespecting his manhood or something. You know, he went and the good thing about that situation was he went and got the DC dude because my cellies was from DC. He thought I was from DC. So that kind of helped because the DC dudes came to me and was like, you know, hey, you know, and the first thing my celly did was hopped up and said, ain't nobody gonna do nothing to my celly. Rest in peace to him because he died in that same cell that we talking about, Michael Dudley. He died. He died. He had one lung already, and he had emphysema. He had lung complications, and the joint was locked down. And by the time they got to him, it wasn't no, you know, wasn't no helping him, man. So he another one, man, that it really hurt my heart. He was a very good guy, and he really cared about me and helped teach me about being a man. Because
That's
again,
great.
I'm 22, 23. Yeah, I was 22, 23.
How much time did he have?
He had 14 years, and he told me he wasn't going to make it out of there. That was kind of crazy. He did Bible study every morning. Like he felt in his heart that he wasn't going to make it out of there because of his complications, I guess. I'm so naive, you know what I mean? I don't really, you know, I hear him, but I didn't even understand like about any of that stuff then. I didn't, you know?
It's a wild, wild life, man. I've seen guys in there, man, 5, 6 years end up dying in there, not even through violence, through
Yeah.
medical issues,
I
medical
mean,
negligence.
even what happened to me, you know, a lot of us, we go to jail, but we never think about possibly not making it out of there. That was a real reality for me. They had to land the helicopter, you know, to fly me to Renown Hospital in Reno, Nevada, because FCI Herlong, it was an hour away drive, so they had to bring the helicopter. You know what I mean?
We're going to get there in a second. I want to ask you something, though, that was mind boggling to me. The natives call you, you go in the cell, they put a blind up on the door.
They blocked the door, so I couldn't get out. Yeah,
What about the other blacks? They didn't see you go in the cell with these dudes? They weren't like,
it was a trick bag situation. Like I didn't feel no harm. Like I didn't know. Like you see what I'm saying? He did what his celly told him to do, which was to come get me. He didn't tell me that you know, dude felt some kind of way or what was about to go on. Like it happened like so fast. You know what I mean? It was one like he could have killed me in there if you really want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like technical and with nobody had known nothing still. Like just something happened in there. You know what I mean? So you got to be aware of what you're doing and everything that's going on.
well, you were a young man. I'll tell you this, I would never, and it's not a knock on you, but someone ever calls me to their cell, I'm never going in their cell like that. Not without being like, hey, yo, hold me down, homie, I'm going in here.
Right.
Or I would
Exactly.
always stand in the doorway. You know what I mean? Like half of my body out, half of my body in. Like, yo, what's up? We ain't closing the door. You know what I mean? But
Man,
we
it
live and we
happened so
learn.
fast. Yeah, it happened so fast. And another thing, it just didn't seem like because, like I said, his celly was doing my tattoos. It just was something that caught me, and it was designed that way. You already know that every time something happened, most of the time the person don't know it's coming. You know what I mean? Everybody know besides that individual. You know what I mean? So that's how it go.
You were comfortable
Sneak
with them
attacks.
dudes. You were getting tattoos with them. People always knew you probably in that cell
Yeah,
all the time, and it could have cost
yeah,
you, man.
yeah, yeah. It could have, but I'm here to tell about it. You know, absolutely.
So we're gonna go to Herlong. Tell me about what happened at her. First, were you happy when you left Hazelton? Like, damn, I'm leaving a USP. I'm going to a FCI.
Yeah, Herlong was later on. I went to Gilmer, FCI Gilmer from there. But Herlong was kind of in the end of my experience. I was there 4 months. I didn't last very long. It was a wonderful experience as far as the people I met and the things that was going on there. It was a comfortable ride, you know what I mean? And I was expecting to really do well there, but you know that incident kind of changed the course of everything. I had actually had some business transactions that was happening that day where I was going, you know, Western Union about 700 to my friend Red from New York. I mean Chicago, and I wasn't able to do things. Another thing was that was my C day that happened on. Like we were trying, the homies were getting, you know, the spread ready so we could sit down and, you know, break bread and everything. So they kind of caught us off guard. Again, it was over a TV. It was the Southsiders didn't have a TV in the one unit, and there wasn't a Southsider in there prior to that, which is why they never had a TV. But when the guy got there, he had to produce a TV, and of course, they wanted the blacks to give up a TV because we had the most TVs. So they politicked about this for weeks and days, you know what I mean? And finally, just one day, the guy said, you know what? Let's just kick it off, you know what I mean? And he grabbed the lock in the sock and tried to hit Squirrel, Folk on the Hustler from Chicago. A lot of people was mad at Squirrel for what he did. Squirrel dipped, we, you know, grabbed the lock and went to handling his business, which was just defending himself. And the next day, you know, holy hell broke loose on the whole yard, you know. But out there on the West Coast, if you put your hands on another race, that's exactly what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Facts. You know.
So they were mad at dude for what? I mean, dude tried to hit him with a lock. He put in some work. He's like, yo, I
That's
ain't
what
got
I'm
no.
saying. I'm gonna tell you why, and you're gonna agree with me here. You know how dudes start crying and complaining when they got to do that whole time, and they sit back there in that hole, and that's what it was. Because people transferring, a lot of people jack they little bid off. You know what I mean? So that's all it was just that right there. I never had a problem with the brother because you know, I've been in them situations where somebody tried to, you know what I mean, hit me with the lock too. So I mean, you're gonna do what you do when you in them situations.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in situations where dudes done things. I mean, I agree with what he did, but I've been in
Right.
situations where, you know, you do something, we end up in the hole. I'm not gonna say nothing to you in front of other people, but when we get to the home, like, yo, man, that was some really dumb shit. You got us
Right.
jammed up, homie, over nothing. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. You're gonna pull them up. Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about what happened to you. So you're in there the next day, it pops off. Tell the people what happened.
What happened was the next day around lunchtime, the Southsiders had got to the out on the rec yard first. All of them. I'm talking about uncles, grandpas, like all of them was out there, and they were posted up on defense, and that was a very smart play for them. Shout out to them for, you know, being strategic. You know, we learn from each other and things like that though. But they were already out there waiting on us. They let a certain amount of blacks come into the rec yard before they screamed "Puto Trece," you know, and they started charging us, and it got real. So that created a stampede because the only other way to go was back out of the way that we were coming in, which were through the metal detectors and all of that. So, I mean, I wasn't one of them people trying to make it out of there. I was standing my ground, you know, handling my business out there. And I ended up on the ground. My thumb was broke. I got pins that was in my thumb. So that was one of the injuries I sustained. They tried to grab my legs and pull me back because I was scooting trying to get out of there. I'm seeing it was like something you see, um, you know, like in a horror film. I seen the guy bleeding out of his head. He's screaming at me. I'm trying to see what's going on and everything. He telling me to get up, and I'm like, I can't. You know what I mean? Because I can't breathe. I couldn't breathe. You know what I mean? My lungs had collapsed. Come to find out, and the guy ran in and eventually grabbed me and helped usher me out of there. Who this guy was, I don't know. You know what I mean? You know, that was like in the moment when that happened, and I thank that guy because he possibly helped save my life. You know what I mean?
So they stabbed you what, 13 times?
13 times. Yep. They stabbed me once in my face. They stabbed me like 3 times in my arm. They stabbed me a couple times up here, down here, and they got me in my back, man. In my back, yo, like I'm sitting in the hospital bed, yo, trying to get comfortable. I'm hurting everywhere. My mouth and my nose was all busted. Like it was a tough situation, man.
Where you were fighting back though, right?
I started Jackie Chan kicking him. When I was on the ground, I started trying to kick jaws off. Like they started bagging up then. I mean, that's all I had was my legs. And legs are strong. So I'm kicking. You know what I mean? That's all I could do.
Were the other black dudes trying to help you? Were they fighting back? Were they trying to flee?
Man, you had one Muslim dude, he was running around in a circle. It was like 5 Serangos chasing him. He out there on the yard running around in a circle. So the people that was there, it ended up being about maybe 35 or 30 people against 75 people. After all of those people had ran back out of there and got out of there, it was only about, you know what I mean? They had us on the numbers there. However, again, you got to remember there was another riot going on inside the unit because the blacks looked out the window and seen what was going on with us, and they attacked the Pisces. And they like really beat Pisces out of their clothes and all kinds of stuff, man. So it was bad what happened to them. They didn't deserve it. They didn't have anything to do with it. They chose to stay inside and not associate with it either. And so the blacks won the riot inside the units, but out on the yard, it's kind of like we took an L on that one. You know what I mean?
I don't mean to laugh. It's just the way that your delivery makes me smile.
Yeah, I mean, one thing of anybody that know me gonna tell you, I'm live and I'm raw and I'm straight real with it. Like we just, you know what I'm saying, for educational purposes, trying to keep these kids from falling into the same cycle because a lot of times they only glorify one part of it, making money, the cars, the jewelry, and all of that. But it's a lot more that come with it.
A whole lot more that comes with it. And a lot of them places are racially segregated, right?
Man, bro, listen to me. I felt like I was in the 60s when I got to Cali. Like I didn't understand the politics. I do now and I respect it. But when I first got out there, I didn't understand. They were like, you can't eat with another race. You can't work out with another race. Another race can't cut your hair in the barbershop. Like, I mean, they ran all these rules down to me. And I'm coming from the Midwest and the East Coast. And I'm kind of like, like if I got a problem with somebody, I'm about to go see that individual. Like I'm not about to be talking to 20 people, So that was kind of how I was thinking. But once you understand and you program and you get in tune with what's going on, you understand why things are the way they are.
Crazy life that we live sometimes behind that wall. Let me ask you
Man,
this, because there's people that probably want to know this, right? When you were getting stabbed, did you know you were getting stabbed?
I did. And in my mind, I was thinking like, damn, this is a fucked up way to, excuse my language, this is a messed up way to die in jail. You know what I mean? Honestly.
Say that
That's all I
again.
was thinking.
Say that
I
again for me.
said, all I was thinking is this is messed up and I don't want to die in jail. That's what I was thinking. That's what was going through my mind. My will to fight, my legs started kicking because I didn't want to die in there. Like, you know?
I want people to hear that, and I want people that are watching this, young men, young women, teenagers, even people that are older that are out here doing whatever they're doing. This man was literally fighting for his life. He didn't want to die in prison. He didn't want to die alone. Remember that old Donald Goines book back in the day? Didn't he have a book about dying alone? Nobody wants to die
I
alone, especially in a prison.
right. Absolutely, man. I seen a guy at Hazelton, rest in peace to the Crip dude that lost his life there. He was only reason he was there was because he didn't have an address to go home, and he ended up getting stabbed by the Bloods and dying in there. His sister wouldn't let him use her address, man, and this man didn't make it out. He was supposed to have already been home. His name was Nutcase, man. He died there at Hazelton, man, and he could have been at home if she would have let him use the address.
Blood on the razor wire. A lot of people have left their blood on the razor wire at Hazelton, at Big Sandy, at Victorville, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
places. But, you've been free, you said 10 years now, right?
10 years. Yep, 2011 when
And
I got out.
I see you're sitting in an office. You got, little shirt on from a business. You own that business?
I do expert janitorial. We do commercial cleaning, residential, automotive detailing, odor removal, pretty much anything cleaning related for the last.
So you went home on a mission saying, hey, I don't ever want to go back to prison. I'm going to put a couple things together and I'm going to do it legally. And that's what you did, right?
Yeah, you want to know something? Around 2015, as I was watching the world change, I was like tired of trying to like fill out applications. I mean, my girl had filled out 88 applications and I never got one call back. So she told me then, from now on, we gonna work on your business. And that's what we did. And I was able to grow that, from there
Might have
to
been
what we have here.
that might have been an unanswered prayer that you have to be thankful for. You might have been praying for a job. It didn't work out.
Right.
Now you're a business owner.
Now the jobs call me. I don't have to fill out applications. I do everything based on my time. I create the systems. I deal with the payroll. Like I watch everything. And a lot of street guys end up being some of the best business owners, entrepreneurs, and coaches, which is what I am today.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. You're also a coach, right?
I do. I coach first and second grade Little League basketball for the YMCA here in Anchorage, Alaska.
You got a son?
I do. I have 3 sons, actually, that I made since I've been here.
Are they on that team?
One of them is my 6-year-old. The other one is 2, and then a smaller one.
I want to know what it's like, man, when the kids look up to you and they call you coach, man.
Honestly, man, growing up in Juvenile, not to go too off the subject, I just never had nobody, man. My parents didn't want me. They didn't have time. So, I grew up in group homes and things like that. So, because of the loneliness and me knowing how it feel to not have anybody at all, and to be a kid to not have anybody, you know what I mean? So, like, it really hit different for me, it do.
Hey, you know something? When you say stuff like that, that's what I'm talking about when we talk about people living their best life. Really, man, you're living your best life. You're free. You own your own business. You're probably making good money. You can support your family. You're coaching kids. Kids are looking up to you. And instead of being called, I don't know, would you have a 060 number? We caught your case in West Virginia. So instead of being a prison number, now you're coach. Instead of, hey, inmate George, you're Coach George, right?
Right, absolutely. And then inside of federal prison, you walk around with that ID card with your picture and that number on there. I mean, it's so belittling and it's so degrading to have to be told when and where and how to do something though. But I mean, that's what you're gonna go through when you're under those conditions though.
What's it like when you sign a big contract for your company? What's it feel like?
Honestly, man, I had a goal and I wanted to know what it felt like to make $25,000 in 1 month. And I reached that goal, man. And it felt amazing, man, to be able to, set goals and see them and check them off the bucket list, honestly.
$25,000 in 1 month.
Legally. And they can't take anything from me, from expert janitorial, man. This business right here.
I want people that are out here getting money to understand that they've been in the game. They might have some bread stacked up. Maybe today's the day that they take that bread they got and they take a chance with it, whether it be, food vendor cards, janitorial service, landscaping, right. Do something with it.
Right. You got to be willing to invest in yourself. And I wanted to tell you that.
Hold on, George. George, I got to stop you for a minute. Say that again. Willing to what?
You got to be willing to invest in yourself. I mean, it's the same budget that you would use to buy cigarettes. People buy, alcohol. Like, you could take that money and invest into some food, a lawnmower, anything to help bring in some positive income. And there's one last thing I wanted to say. In 2015, when I was watching how the world was changing and the oil and things was collapsing, I knew that I was going to get laid off. And I didn't know what to do from that point. So this is where the business idea came in at. And I started reading business books while I was working there. And they were seeing what I was doing and asking me, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, I started my own business and I started building and growing it mentally first and with equipment, so that's how it kept going for me. I used the money. Once they did lay me off, I used my 401k, which was about 6,000 to 7,000 to start funding what I needed for my business. And that's how we got,
So you started this business with what, 6,000 or 7,000?
Yes, I did.
That's what's up, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing big things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Clearly, we didn't, surpass a lot of that. I got city contracts, government contracts, you know, and I'm on Groupon.
Okay, so sometimes I've been having trouble with this audio, bro.
Oh, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it, brother.
So anybody that is in your area, I definitely want them to look you up, right? Mm-hmm. What's the name of that expert janitorial service you said?
Yep. Expert janitorial services. We have a website. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. You can pretty much go anywhere and see us. LinkedIn, anywhere.
That's what's up, man. So look, man, before we close, you're a coach. You deal with kids every day. You've been through the system. You really been through the system. You've been stabbed 13 times. You've been in race riots over televisions. What's your message to the kids, man? To the youth?
I'm gonna tell the youth the same thing I tell my son. The more you educate yourself and the smarter you are, you don't have to worry about working so hard. The less you have to work, you can sit back and create job opportunities for other people and put other people in position. If you just take the time out to educate yourself and apply what you know. We all have gifts and treasures inside of us. We just have to tap in and figure out what works for us and how to use it.
I think this is one of the best interviews I did. I'm going to get ready to close the show, but just want you to know, man, that I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate what you're doing, man, not just for yourself, but you're an example, man. You're an example to them kids that are on that basketball team. You're an example to your own children, and that's what's up. That's what it's about, man. So nothing but respect and love for you, Big George, and maybe I'll see you at a Cleveland game when the Bills have to, take care of that business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know my money. You know where my money going.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's all good, man. I'm gonna close the show with respect. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Share the video. Someone needs to hear this message today. We're out.